Hey guys, welcome back to Young Americans Abroad, your best place for weekly content on young American soccer players playing overseas. My name's Austin Van Churn,
And my name's Patrick Ferry.
and welcome to our show. Well, guys, we're back again this week. We have both of us here this week, right, Pat?
Yeah, Austin, it's great to be back. Good to end 2018 on a high note here.
That's right. And, the season is winding down for a lot of our clubs, or at least, the season's winding down for the winter break. So we got some different performances again this week. We have some players coming back from injury.
Yeah, Austin, it's great to see some of those players we haven't talked about in a bit. And then unfortunately, some news with one of our Americans abroad that has not been paid in a few months, which is never good for anyone.
No, that's definitely not good. I know if I wasn't paid for 3 months, I'd be a little upset. But yeah, and then we got a few younger players making some more appearances in Germany. So let's get into our episode. So the first player we want to talk about this week is Haji Wright, and Haji actually played the entire second half for Schalke in their 1-1 draw with Augsburg this week. And Pat, I gotta say, he looked a lot more comfortable in this game than he did in Schalke's last game that he started.
That's good, Austin, just because I know I'm sure that first game wasn't able to watch it, but it seemed like he had a little rough go at it there. Just looked a little slow and behind the ball, but you'd say it was a improved performance?
Yeah, I thought I thought he looked I guess he just got involved more in the game in this appearance. I thought, he looked a little bit more dangerous in that final third. And I think he also provided, some pretty good defensive pressing and, tenacity, I guess, on the defensive side of things for Schalke. I thought, he provided kind of an edge up in that attacking third where Schalke liked to press a lot. We've seen Weston McKennie play kind of as a cam for them this year. And
that's right, he's played everywhere.
kind of as a second striker even in some games, pressing, defenders for opposing teams. So I thought Haji, did a good job at doing that because that's something that Schalke is, very unique at in doing. But yeah, I thought, some of the negative things in this game, again, was still his first touch was a little suspect at times. He also held the ball a little bit too long, didn't seem very comfortable on the ball at all times, and was a little bit unsure of himself and who to pass to in tighter areas. So
right.
That's something he's going to have to work on, and that's been a criticism of him, so far in his career. So.
And hopefully, Austin, that will just come if he can able to get some more minutes under his belt. He'll be able to shake off some of those bad habits.
Yeah, and those minutes don't have to be with Schalke's first team in the future, I guess we should say. But I think last game that he started for Schalke, I don't think he really did enough, in my opinion, to deserve another look. But hey, he got another look this past weekend, and Domenico, seems to like his game and like what he brings to the field.
Must
and I
be
think
something on the training ground, Austin, or
yeah, I think he has shown something in practice because it definitely looked like when he came on, Domenico was like, all right, like I'm putting you on to, score a goal or, disrupt play, create, a goal while you're on the pitch. And to be fair, he did. I guess a goal was scored when he was on the pitch. So I guess he did do something.
And that's a good point, Austin, because I mean, Schalke's they're not looking so great in the league, and they wouldn't just throw anyone up there, in terms of attackers.
Well, yeah, I mean, right now they're kind of in a striker bind, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
They have three, I guess 3 to 4 strikers out at the moment, with Guido Burgstaller, Briel Mbolo, who's out, and Mark Uth, who are all out with injury. So I guess maybe that's not the most fair thing to say, that they wouldn't just throw someone out there. But I definitely think, some of the options that they had available on their bench and some of the players that were already in the game, I thought, there wouldn't be really any reason to throw Haji on right at halftime. And I think, it shows that Domenico at least believes in Haji enough to come on and make a difference in a game where they're losing. and they need those points.
Yeah, that's always a good thing. Staying positive there for Haji, Austin.
Yeah, I think you have to at this point because he's had, I would say, kind of a rough last year and a half, and hey, he's done enough and has taken advantage of an opportunity that's come to him to get on the field and make his Bundesliga debut. So can't really fault the man for that. So
not at all, Austin. And that's kind of how some players get started there. A few injuries here and there, and you just take your opportunities.
Yeah. Hey, we've seen it happen plenty of times. So far for some of our players who are breaking through, even right now. We've seen how injuries can help that out. Josh Sargent comes to mind. I think, especially this past weekend, I think the reason he was in the 18 was because of an injury, but I think we'll get to that a little bit later.
Right.
In our episode. But, I guess one more thing to say with Haji is he did actually score a goal in this game, but it was called back because he was offside. So, further evidence that, this was a positive performance from him. And yeah, I'd like to see Haji back on the field for Schalke in the near future, for sure. But I guess now, Pat, let's move it over to Scotland and talk about a player we haven't talked too much about this season.
That's right, Austin. That's none other than Emerson Hyndeman there. So he was actually involved, played the full 90, and involved in the build-up to the first goal in a 2-0 win over Celtic, the league leaders. So that's a huge win for Hibs there. And I want to mention as well, which many of us, our soccer viewers, know, but Emerson is on loan from Bournemouth there to Hibernian. So this is his second stint in the Scottish Premiership. He was with Rangers before, and unfortunately, a common theme, like we were talking off camera here, is just the kind of injuries throughout his career. I know even with Rangers there a little bit, and then going back to the summer for Bournemouth. Just Austin, I know you mentioned he seems to kind of just have a bad timing with these injuries.
Yeah, that's what it seems like so far in his career. He just can never really catch a break. Seems like whenever things go well for him, he always seems to pick up an injury that's not at a good time. So hopefully we don't see that from him here at Hibernian.
Yeah, right. Fingers crossed. And I know hopefully ending a strong 2018 here. Just want to go back to some of his earlier performances last week against Hamilton, subbed on the second half. And again, the same kind of key, I guess, points that were out by some of the newspapers for Hibernian there were mentioning his kind of tenacity, being able to track back defensively and put really good pressure. I guess Hibernian likes to play a little bit of pressing style, and he added some dynamic energy as well as being, notoriously good with possession and kind of, building the attack up. So we've seen that before, and it's kind of good to see him get a few string of solid performances together, Austin, and we can just hope that he stays injury-free and continues this fine form because, he's starting to get to a point. I think he's 22 where he needs to start, staying healthy, getting those minutes week in and week out. Yeah,
that's very true. Right now is really the time where he needs to be on the field. So at least he's doing that for Hibernian this year. And he looked good again this weekend against Celtic, which is a very good team. At least in the Scottish Premier League. I know we hype up Malmo a lot, so let's not get too crazy with Celtic. But
we're not going crazy with Celtic guys. But no, Austin, you bring up a good point because Celtic do have some quality players, and Hyndman looked pretty good against Sinclair and a few of the others that Celtic have had, and they've been dominating that league for years. And for Hibernian, who I believe is 8th, to just kind of come up there and put in a complete performance and outclass Brendan Rodgers. And Hyndman leading the charge is a great thing to see. So hopefully more to come.
So would you be okay with Hyndman staying in the Scottish League if he moves to, say, a Rangers again?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question, Austin. I honestly think that'd be a good move. I think right now Bournemouth, the situation he's in, I don't know. I don't feel so confident. I feel like Eddie Howe's kind of lost a little faith in him. Maybe some other players are kind of higher on the pecking order. Maybe that is down to injuries. I'm not really sure. But I think, going back to even a Rangers, they're starting to look a little better. I know they're involved in Europa League action there, climbing up the table with Stevie G.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, and even Hibernian's, right in the middle. But if he can go to one of the top Scottish sides there and kind of reinvent his game, as we've seen him have some successful, this is his second time, again, I mentioned, out on loan in Scotland, and not a bad league to maybe develop for another year or two and get back starting those games and hopefully, again, kind of revive that career. It always seems like, Austin, he's kind of on the outside looking in, and right when you think he's going to kind of burst that bubble there, an injury happens or something.
Yeah, that's a good analysis of it. Yeah, that's exactly what it seems like whenever I have had optimism about Emerson. Something always happens where it's just like, oh, if you could only have done this, then maybe you could have broken into the fold. So yeah, exactly. That's tough. But hey, good to hear that he's starting to play really well again in Scotland.
Yeah,
and, up the Hibs for that win,
Up the Hibs, Austin. So yeah, that's some positive notes. And then we want to talk about shifting over to another youngster in Germany.
That's right, striker number 2.
Striker number 2. So I'll go ahead and take this away.
Yeah. So Josh Sargent made another appearance for Werder Bremen this weekend, playing 7 minutes in their 2-1 loss to Borussia Dortmund. So Josh in this game came on with Werder Bremen down, 2-1, looking to score a goal, and unfortunately he wasn't able to do that this weekend. But he did provide a lot of good pressing action for Bremen in the final minutes. They got definitely a few good opportunities in those last minutes plus stoppage time where they could have scored against Dortmund, and Josh looked a force in that press and really was trying to make things happen. Unfortunately, it just wasn't meant to be. But he also picked up a yellow card in this game, so his first Bundesliga yellow card.
Get it out of the way.
Yeah, right. Hopefully, no red cards anytime soon. We don't need any of that. But he looked, like I said, aggressive in this game. I think it was a bad pass or a bad touch in the minutes he was on the pitch. That was kind of like, oh boy. But I don't know. I think he did a lot with his pressing in this game. I think that was the biggest takeaway, that he can actually be a force up top even when he's not on the ball.
Right, and I'm sure it's kind of
maybe he can get more minutes because of that.
Yeah, I'm sure maybe Austin. I don't know your take on this. It's probably a little tough for a young guy to kind of come in and have only maybe 10 or so minutes, give or take stoppage time, to make an impact. So
right,
I guess you were mentioning just kind of him being more energized and hustling and pressing is really, as much as he could do.
Yeah, I mean, Dortmund had a lot of the ball in those final minutes, and, Bremen were just trying to, heave the ball up to, whoever was up the field. So it wasn't like they were really stringing together many passes for him to, really get good opportunities off of. It was a lot of, I wouldn't say sloppy play, but it was more just, that last ditch, long balls up the field, trying to, force someone into making a mistake from Dortmund and them capitalizing on it. So, I don't think there's really much Josh could do. I mean, obviously he could have scored, but
he already did that before, right?
Well, yeah, that's true. But I don't think, it was too bad that he didn't score in this game. Like I said, I thought he provided, a great presence up top when he came on the pitch. So, I don't think there's really much more you can ask for. Obviously, you can always ask for him to score. But
just a quick question for you. I guess, now he's starting to really get into the fold, which is great, with the first team. What do you kind of see? I guess maybe it's a hard question to answer, but with this winter break coming up, what does this kind of second half of the season look like for Josh?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So in our last episode, I talked about, and I believe it was our last episode, maybe not. No, it definitely was. I talked about how Florian Kohfeldt said after his last appearance in goal last weekend that, if Josh gets 5 to 6 appearances for the first team by the end of the season, that'll be a good season for him. But, we saw him make his second consecutive appearance this weekend. And, a little caveat is that Jonas Eggestein, one of their other strikers and attackers, was actually out with injury. and it seemed like that was the reason Josh was in the 18 for Bremen this weekend. So it's important to note that. But I think, 5 to 6 appearances, I probably wouldn't be as happy after seeing him play again this weekend, and looking, in my opinion, up to the level of the Bundesliga. I think, if he can make maybe 10 appearances by the end of the season, I'm not sure if Bremen are in the, or if Bremen is in the DFB Cup at the moment. If they are, then I think that would be, a pretty good season for Josh if he can make 10 appearances. And also, I think if he can just make the 18, maybe not even play, 10 to 15 times, that would be pretty impressive as well.
It's a good point. Hopefully, I don't know where they are. I think they're kind of higher up the table. If they could squeeze into Europa League spot, that'd be great.
Yeah, that would be good. I actually really like their team. I think they have, a lot of good team chemistry, and I think they're a pretty confident team. Every time I watch them, I've enjoyed watching them. I've had fun watching them. So yeah, I think Europa League could be in the question for them. They haven't looked, I guess, as good, or they haven't gotten too many good results recently, but they started the season off, on fire. So who's to say they can't, reignite and catch fire again?
Absolutely.
But yeah, so Josh, yet again made another appearance in the Bundesliga. So we'll continue to monitor that. And like you said, Pat, hopefully over winter break, he'll, spend time exclusively with that first team for Bremen, maybe get up to speed a little bit more with some of the players that are on that first team, get a little bit more comfortable, and hey, maybe we'll see him, break out in the spring.
That's right, Austin. Just quickly too, I know, has it been almost a full calendar year since Josh has moved there, right? Was it last January, I think?
That's a good point to bring up. I think it was actually February, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Now I'm not sure if I'm right. I feel like it was February for some reason, because it was after the window, so he couldn't play in matches for
going on. I remember talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think his birthday's in February as well, but don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, so it'll be about a year, once January rolls around. So hey, not a bad position to be in after a year of
not at all for a young striker
going abroad. Yeah, but yeah. So that's all we have on Josh this weekend. We'll move over now to Holland and talk about yet another men's national team striker who's looking good.
That's right, Austin, and that's our boy Andrija Novakovich, who's finally back from injury. Obviously, for his first start, I mean, he did play a little bit the week before, but to get his first start and involved in a fantastic assist, I believe it was a 2-0 win against Feyenoord, if I said that right.
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that. But yeah, Andrija, he had this nice little darting run in the corner there, and I was describing it off camera, but don't quote me on this. It was almost like Messi-esque. There's just the technique he used, not to go that far, but it was beautifully, like, kind of shifted on his other foot. The defender hesitated, and he just picked his head up. Beautiful ball just across for the nice assist, but it looked fantastic for a guy who's been kind of out of the lineup for a little while and shaking off the rust. I think it was his first start. Had the stat here since when was it? I think it's November 24th.
Oh, okay.
Or no, that was their last win. I apologize, but it was even earlier than that since he's been injured a few weeks before that. So
yeah, it's been a little while now. I know that.
Yeah, Austin. So it's been perfect timing for him to kind of come back and help Fortuna Sittard get a win there, since it has been a few weeks. So always good to see Andrija, Austin, make an impact.
Yeah, and that was a big win because Fortuna was at Feyenoord in this game, and they pulled out a 2-0 win over, I would say, Eredivisie giant, quote unquote.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to kind of backtrack to Novakovich's progress with coming up from the second division there with Telstar. And kind of even with this injury, you think there'd be a little concerns that maybe he wouldn't get right away back into the starting lineup, and to see him make an impact like that is fantastic, and really shows that he's developing as a player there in the Netherlands. And I'm really excited to see him kind of finish off the rest of the season here strong, and hopefully go back to his parent club there with Reading. And that's the next step, Austin, I think.
Yeah, we keep saying that this year and last year. Yeah, hopefully. I would love to see him in the championship. But yeah, hey, I'd also love to see him stay in the Eredivisie, especially if he goes to an even better club, or Fortuna Sittard, kind of climb the leaderboard over there in the Eredivisie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think he's really making a name for himself in Holland. So maybe staying in Holland's the better route. I don't know.
That's a great option too. I think there's definitely some solid teams who could climb up, and I think Sittard's actually sitting in 10th now, and that's much better than when they first started the season off. They were I think like second to bottom, third to bottom, kind of close with NAC Breda there.
Oh boy,
but, we don't talk about them.
But yeah, you don't want to be next to NAC Breda.
Andrija is, like you mentioned, I think he really is making a name, and you can really see some of the differences, some of the GIFs and highlights, and a few of the games able to catch the significant improvements that he's made since even we saw him in Philly for the US. Kind of looked a little slow, off pace, but really, again, seems to be understanding the system that Fortuna's played, and switching over teams, and especially divisions, can be hard. And if we can see him kind of progress, like I mentioned before, to the next step in the championship, that'd be fantastic, because that's a pretty good league for strikers to develop in.
Yeah, you make a good point too. Like, he's really kind of just stepped into the fold there at Fortuna Sittard, and has really been the striker for them, at least before he was injured, and has helped them to overperform, in my opinion. Obviously, they're a team that was just promoted, so the fact that they're sitting 10th in the Eredivisie this far into the season tells me that they're playing pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're hoping
Team
Novakovich right here. Yeah, and Austin, another exciting shifting gears back to Germany, exciting young attacker that I know you wanted to quickly touch on here.
That's right, and that's yet another striker in Germany, and that would be Sebastian Soto. So real quickly, we just want to talk about the news that Grant Wall broke. I believe it was today officially, and that would be that Sebastian Soto will actually get the opportunity to train with Hannover's first team over this winter break. So, hey, congrats to Sebastian. He's really proved himself so far in this first half of the U19 Bundesliga season for Hanover. He's just been on fire, scoring goals at an unbelievable rate for them. So, hey, congrats to him.
Yeah,
I think, awesome. I'm so happy for him, because we need strikers, man. So
yeah, that was a good point, because we don't have too many right now, and so these young guys got to have to be pushing some of the Altidores and others out the door.
Out the door.
Out the door. Yeah. No, I know he's we've touched on him recently for the U19s there, but and I'm not sure if off the top of your head some statistics or anything, but I know he's been, like you said, lighting it up and scoring pretty easily in that league. Yeah,
so the statistic that Grant Wall said today was he scored 10 goals in 14 games in the U19 Bundesliga, which I believe he also said is tied for fourth in the entire U19 Bundesliga standings.
Oh, nice.
So that's pretty impressive. But I also know, in addition to those 10 goals, he's also scored, I think it's either 3 or 4 goals in a cup that team has played in. So it's actually more like 14 goals, I would say, in 17 games. So, hey, he continues to score,
take it to the next level.
What competition it is. Yeah. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm so happy for him, and excited to see what lies ahead for him, because Hanover, doesn't have too many exciting players at any real position for them. So if they can, find a player in their academy, especially someone who has, such wide appeal, like an American player, we might see them promote that player for, not only just on the field play, but also maybe marketing play as well. And, you know, hey, maybe that'll help him get an opportunity. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, hey, he'll be playing with Bobby Wood, I guess. We saw some pictures earlier in the year with him when he got called up to first team training, and they were talking
it's a good
pretty much all practice. Yeah. Hey, man. Bob Woody.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
I mean, even his story, you know, the times that he's had and kind of the opportunities he was given, even when Jurgen Klinsmann was there for the national team, and kind of getting out of that frightening situation, the 2 Bundesliga. I think just being around him, to have him at the club, you know, is a great thing, especially, you know, being away from home. And
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that point up.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. That's a good point. But yeah, so congrats to Sebastian. But now let's go over to Spain and talk about some troubling news, Pat. And what would that be?
Oh, Austin, I don't even know if I want to talk about it. It's unfortunately with Shaq Moore. He has not been paid in apparently 3 months, and CF Reus has been in some serious financial troubles. I want to start by noting, so 16 players. There's only 16 professional players on CF Reus.
Oh,
so
geez.
The rest are, you know, amateur, but 12 of those 16 have not been paid. So there was kind of a little protest, not a little, huge protest with the players. And there's a whole legal thing going down where this game they played just this weekend with Cordoba, they weren't supposed to play unless maybe there was some payment being processed or some of the players finally being paid, because that's a horrible situation, Austin. So
yeah, that's bad.
Apparently they were able to get that game through, because if they did not play that game and it went another week, that team has been around for 109 years would have folded.
Oh, wow. That's
so
disappointing.
Troubling times. But quickly want to touch on some positive stuff, I guess. This is Shaq Moore's 3rd consecutive start. I think he got a 7 out of 10 rating on a few of the polls I saw on Twitter, which kind of include a few interceptions. I think he had like 91% passing, things like this past weekend against Cordoba in a draw. So Reus as a club is struggling financially and on the field. But Shaq Moore, again, it's taken a while, but to see him get these last few consecutive starts is good. It's just really concerning right now, because it's like, Austin, I think it's almost like a week-by-week basis.
Yeah, that can't be easy for a player to navigate, you know, every week, whether or not the club will be folding, or, you know, whether they'll be able to play games. Like that's got to be really stressful.
Yeah, so. Yeah, that's a horrible situation for especially, you know, a guy who's kind of been sort of in the picture there. He's gotten a few caps, you know, with Sargent this past year, and you never want to see a player who's, you know, kind of had some struggles. I know rats in the locker room before, a few years back. So it seems like a few of these Spanish teams in the 2nd division are just having kind of a rough time, or Shaq Moore's just finding himself in the wrong situation.
Yeah, I'll say it's not good. But yeah, like you said, Pat, I think he's looked really good in his, or at least he's looked bright in his you know, few U.S. men's national team appearances. I thought, you know, he's looked like a player that actually belonged on the international stage. You know, especially going forward in the future, I think he'll only get better. So
absolutely, and that's why I found it a little baffling that Reus was struggling, you know, throughout the season, and he really wasn't playing at all. I just, maybe there's got to be something, this financial problem, maybe with management, things like that. I don't want to start speculating, but it just seems off at Reus, and I hope he's able to kind of you know, get out of this situation and either get loaned out to a club with more opportunity, financial security, or really cement his place.
Actually has a business plan.
Yeah, business plan, right?
Jeez.
But yeah, that's that for that, Austin.
Yeah, so I guess, you know, we'll keep monitoring his situation there, and we'll see if you know, Royce actually has a team next week, and you know, we'll get back to you guys on that. So that's all for this part of our episode. So now let's go over to Quick Kicks.
And now, guys, it's one of my favorite times, and I'm not talking about Christmas time. This is my favorite segment here, none other than Quick Kicks.
See who could test Dwayne Miller. It's Altidore over the wall, and that one is in! Josie Altidore from a long way out. The opening goal for the United States.
And starting off this week's episodes of Quick Kicks, we have some unfortunate news with Antonee Robinson. He actually had ankle surgery and is out for the 8 to 10 weeks approximately. So we won't be seeing him until February. So get well soon, Antonee.
And now moving over to Germany, we have Christian Pulisic, who only played 2 minutes for Borussia Dortmund in their 2-1 win this weekend over Werder Bremen.
And Lynden Gooch was involved, played 84 minutes in a 2-1 win over Bristol Rovers at the Stadium of Light there.
And moving over to Denmark, unfortunately, Jonathan Amon played this entire second half for Nordsjælland this weekend, but it was in a 3-0 loss to Elfsborg.
Oh, that's tough, Austin. But shifting some good news for one of our great goalkeepers, Ethan Horvath, kept up his shutout over the weekend with a 0-0 draw for Bruges against KVA Kortrijk. And also want to mention he had another clean sheet in the Champions League against Atletico Madrid last week. So keep it up, Ethan.
That's right. Good stuff for him. And now going back to Denmark, unfortunately, we have some more disappointing news. And this week, it's Emmanuel Sabbi, played 90 minutes yet again for Hobro, but unfortunately, they lost 1-0 to Our House.
Our House, it's a good name. But anyway, shifting to the championship again, Cameron Carter-Vickers came on, after a halftime, played 45 minutes, and was involved, a crucial piece for Swansea to hold on 2-1 win against Sheffield. So good stuff there for CCV.
And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe down below.
And also make sure to check out our Twitter and Instagram social media handles there. We have some great content going out.
That's right. And, one question we had for you guys, and you can let us know by either liking this video or, leaving a comment. But we were toying with the idea, and it was actually posed to us in a comment section 2 videos ago, of whether or not to do a dual nat video, like a top 10 dual nats to look out for, or something of that nature. So let us know, down in the comments if you'd like to see a video like that, or by liking this video, that'll let us know that you guys are interested in that idea.
That's right, and we want to interact with you guys, and any other ideas for videos like Austin mentioned, we'll be happy to make a video like that and get everyone more educated and involved with this exciting U.S. movement.
That's right, especially with the the new year coming up. We got a lot of players to look out for who have moved abroad. So yeah, and Pat, I think that just leaves one thing left to say to finish the episode.
That's right, Austin, and I'm not going to steal your limelight because that is your go-to line. And what is it?
It is, one day we will win the World Cup.